Before we fall down the road, there's one thing that I need to know. Baby, can you love for real? Yeah, give me something that I can feel. Before we fall
Okay, there goes Eli.
there's one thing I need to know. Baby, can you love for real? Yeah, give me something that I can feel. Is your love real? Somebody
Hey,
girl,
hey,
if I got
hey, what's going
How
on?
are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Eli?
I'm doing really good.
You know, I had to bump my favorite song
I,
off your 20 off your EP. That's like my favorite
yes,
song. Real.
yeah, you are a
That's
real supporter. I
that
love
that's my jam. I've been bumping it like
I,
rotation when I first heard it.
I appreciate this so much.
Oh, thank you, my love. Well, before I do get started, I want to introduce myself. Oh, he had left alive. He'll come right back. Oh, okay. Oh, y'all are in, honey. Yes. Hold on. Let's see. Because Eli, he jumped out. He'll jump right back in. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
back.
No, you good. You good. As soon as
I'm
I get
horrible
you.
at this tech stuff, so
Oh,
bear
no,
with
you good, love. Like I said, you dropped out. You dropped out. I was like, I don't know
me.
what happened. So I'm like, well, he'll come back. He'll come back.
Yes, I'm
But
here. I'm here.
no, you're good. You're good. So before I do introduce you, I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is
Yes.
Chastity Buckley. I am the host of Midnight R&B Edition, home of Midnight Love BET, where I give all my flowers out to all my R&B artists, singers, songwriters, and producers, and everybody who is changing the R&B game, and everybody who is coming up in the R&B game. And I'm here with a Who's Next, my Who's Next episode, which I'm really starting, which I really love. A up and coming R&B singer and songwriter, pen gamer.
Hello.
The one and only Mr. Eli Ahmad. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I am beyond excited. I actually like this segment. I love this segment. I love my Who's Next people because this goes to give you so much notoriety and
Yeah.
recognition, because one thing I love about up and coming artists, it's kind of like reminds me of BT back in the day when people that were up and coming and then soon enough they boom, they hit it big. I just love stuff like this, and I want to
Yeah.
bring this back into the culture because this is something that we really need for R&B, singers that really making real good music. So I'm honored to have you on the
Yeah.
platform. Thank
I
you.
just want to say I'm honored to be here. I'm so
Oh,
thankful for this opportunity. I was literally just telling somebody like a few weeks ago that I don't know if, as much as I love R&B, I don't know if I ever have the chance to talk to somebody who not only loves music but loves R&B music as much as you do, as
come
much
on,
as we do. And it is a community of us out here who still love and eat, sleep, and breathe R&B music. So I'm just
come
happy for
on.
this opportunity. It's amazing. I could have did an interview with anybody else, but this one
Oh.
special to me. So I just want to say thank you for having me here.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
thank you
I'm
so much.
excited.
Yes, and thank you so much. And I seen your support today. Thank you beyond on my
Yeah,
interview. I
congratulations.
truly, yeah, that was a big one. That was my
Yeah,
most, I'm gonna say that was my most anticipated interview out of all the
right.
interviews I done. He was my
Wow.
number one anticipated.
That's
So yeah, it was so dope and amazing. But before we do get started, I want to, talk to you about how you've been doing since now we're getting ready to be in a post pandemic. How's everything in your life been going?
Listen, well, I recently lost my grandmother
Oh,
in
I'm
May.
so sorry about that.
So, yes, thank you. That was probably the biggest bump in the road this year. We've
Mm,
been
yeah.
with that since September, or yeah, around September last year. So it's definitely been a hard road.
Oh
But
yeah, I'm sorry about that.
she's prepared me for this moment. So I've just been striving, going through, getting through life.
Yeah.
Outside of that, music has been really great. I just released the remixes to the EP, so that's definitely something that I'm happy about. I'm excited about. I'm here to talk about as well. But
Yes.
I definitely say, yeah, this pandemic has really changed a lot. But honestly, it's been outside of what happened with my grandmother. It's been really, really good for me. School wise, I'm a college student, so doing online schooling has allowed me to obviously release this EP and get things done outside of school. Like it's really helped me in ways that I really didn't think it would. So I'm kind of happy that we had a pandemic that, you know, kind of
Hmm.
into a quarantine and kind of
Yeah.
revamp the world a little bit, but at the
Hmm.
same time, we've lost so many people, and I currently have a family member who's struggling with COVID as
Oh,
we
I'm
speak.
so sorry
So
about that.
it's such a deadly disease, you know, a deadly thing that's going on. So I really want people to still take it serious, regardless if you're vaccinated or not. You know, get out here and protect yourself and protect everybody else. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you so much, Eli, for telling your story. And I'm so sorry for the loss of your
I
grandmother.
appreciate
And I seen that you dedicated, I think, what are the reasons?
it. Yes,
It was reasons. I seen that on your post, and I was like, wow, that's really touching. I
yeah,
can understand from you because I lost my father last year, so you know I understand how it is, you know, losing
yeah.
family members, and you know
Mm,
it's just really tough. And I lost an uncle to murder, so I can agree
right,
with you on so many ways.
yeah,
When you deal with loss, it's really tough. But like I
right.
said, once you have that music that heals you, it kind of takes you to
Mm,
an open place where you just want to let everything out. So.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
so happy that, you know, the music is being therapeutic to you and, you know, you doing your EP. I know that was just
absolutely.
like, I know you
Yes,
was in your bag.
yeah. Listen, that was like a 6 to 8 month process, and it
What?
took,
Wow.
yes, to just to record the EP. I mean, it was a short period of time, but since 2017, I've been working on a project, I would like to say. So
Wow.
I've just so happened to have, you know, the budget and everything. It all fell in line. It all, you know, just fell in place for me.
Right.
But I've been trying really hard since 2017 when I started writing to release a project. I didn't know
Hmm.
what it would be, what
Yeah.
it would sound like, but it literally came together so perfectly. So I'm just happy for,
Mhm. Yeah, well, I'm excited because, like I said, that's what we're here to talk about. 22, your
yeah,
EP, and everything
yeah,
that you know you have done. And I want to get the people to know about you. So, Eli, I want to, you know, talk to you, ask you a couple questions. So, I want to ask, where
yeah.
are you from, and then how did you follow in R&B music, and what was your inspiration behind what you are doing right now?
Well, I got me some notes right here because I got
Okay,
a
no
long
problem.
list of inspirations and everything.
Come
And so
on,
I'm
you
trying to
better
get
drop that. You better
out.
drop that list.
I'm gonna drop some gems tonight. So, but
Yes.
no, I am from North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm from the South,
Jodeci,
right?
the home of Jodeci.
Yes,
Mm-mm-mm.
the home of Fantasia. I mean, a lot of people like it's a lot of great R&B that's come out of North Carolina, and we still
Yeah.
kind of underrated. But hopefully, with me and all the other peers that I have, we can change, you know, change the game. But I'm I got my start in my artistry. I call Charlotte, North Carolina, my home because I got my start in music there.
Mhm.
I really grew up singing in the church, you know, the whole nine. But once I got to Charlotte in
Mm.
2016, that's when I really started songwriting.
Right.
I started just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I always
Mhm.
like singing was my first love, but I knew it had to be bigger than that. It had to be more than that. I never wrote a song ever until 2017. I never thought about songwriting. I honestly thought it was something I couldn't do.
Oh wow! Look,
Yeah,
you could
I
do
was
it better than me.
well, I
Mm.
appreciate it. I was just like, you know, it's not a passion of mine. I thought at that time that it wasn't a passion. So when I started picking it up, I was like, okay, you know, this is something that's working for me. You know, it sounds good. I remember singing to my best friend, like the first song I ever wrote, and her reaction was just like mind blown. But you know, to fast forward, I just kind of really started telling myself like, okay, if you're gonna do this music thing, you have to make it like you have to be serious about your brand. And I
Yeah.
just made it to where music was like, of course, my first love, but I really started putting my mind into the business of music, studying
Mm.
like promotion, how important it is to own your masters, to know about your contract, everything that the music industry does not want to tell you. I
Facts.
took time to research that for many, many years. So
Right.
I'm definitely treating myself as a brand. Eli Ahmad is my brand. So it's beyond the music for me. It's way more than just like the songwriting and singing. So
Hmm.
I would definitely say, yeah, Charlotte is where I found that nick for
Hmm.
just training myself and you know getting right to where I am
Right.
today.
Right. That is just so amazing. I love how you talk about, you know, with your music, you're very influential how you feel because you're very serious. Because like I said, sometimes, you know, when we get into, you know, understanding about the music industry, it's a business. You get what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
love how the way you kind of did the business first and then did your
Yeah.
music. Because I think what we get caught up in is, you know, everybody wants to be famous, everybody wants to be a
Hmm.
superstar, but they don't understand the totality of how it is to get to that level. But the business side aspect is like
Hmm.
more of that than it is the talent. No shade, but you know, it's the
Yeah,
truth.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
if you
it's the
have the
truth.
talent, you can kind of you can make sure you have the talent, but you want to make sure that your talent is not wasted or not even misused in any type of
Hmm.
way. So I think
Exactly.
that's really amazing that you really have garnered yourself to really be knowledgeable about the business, about the information of the music industry, but not even that, only your, your music, because how we see for a lot of, artists, people own their masters, they can either let it have it or not have it, they can sell it, they can do
Right.
whatever they want. So that's why it's
Exactly.
always serious. You may be the singer, but the singer needs to
Right.
make sure they own their voice.
You
That's
need to,
facts.
I would say everything, but of course I'm in like literally the entry level stage. I'm speaking from a very privileged
Yeah.
aspect, I would say, of being an independent artist and
Mm-hmm.
not having a label or anything like that. I definitely can create as freely as I want to without having
Mm-hmm.
to that. But it is important. I have intentions to go mainstream, so that means I have to. Any world you want to be in, you have to know what you're doing, how to
Yeah.
do it. I'm not trying to be out here keeping up with the Joneses. Like I
Come
really,
on.
I really need to know what I'm doing, and that's why I
Yeah.
take time to study it and really pay attention to everything.
Yeah, I love that. I just really just love that you're knowledgeable, because I think what it is, everybody doesn't understand that the industry is the business and the music is the
Hmm.
music, but
Exactly.
they're all coexist. But you got to understand that the business comes first. So
Exactly.
I just really love that, and I'm really proud of you. And like I said, for
Thank
being from
you.
North Carolina, I'm
Yes.
not the huge Jodeci fan, but my thing
Right.
about Jodeci is they are the innovators. They are the creators of the R&B
Yes.
sound. So we're not gonna
Oh,
sleep on them and say Jodeci did not impact people. That's
exactly.
that's facts. So
Yeah.
I just love that about you. So thank you. So I want to ask you, so what made you want to get into this industry? What made you want to be a part of the
Whew.
industry?
So honestly, that's something that I won't say I still ask myself that question, but
Mm-hmm.
like literally since I was a kid, I saw no other fit for me in life other than
Right.
just music. And it was never just like I said, just singing or just
Mm-hmm.
writing, or it was always like, okay, you have this machine behind, like you have this in you. You don't need anybody else to push you, so you just like get yourself out here and do it. So
Yeah.
I really, really, genuinely always just had that in me to want to
Mm-hmm.
go further. And each step, each achievement that I had, I'm like, it's not enough. I got to get further. Got
Right.
and the inspirations. We'll get into that, but like the
Mm-hmm.
inspirations is really what drove me into like, really wanted to get into the industry.
Mm-hmm. So I was just thinking too, because I think I met you, wasn't around the time you were doing that Mario thing.
Yes, R&B next.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so what was the R&B Next all about? Because I know I had seen it on post, but I want to know from your perspective, how did that help you?
Yeah, so it helped me a ton. Like this EP, honestly, that really kind of was the fuel behind the EP. Like
Mm-hmm.
once that happened for me, I was still kind of recording the EP. I
Mm-hmm.
was still unsure whether or not it was going to come out. So I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely like, I have to do this now. But
Yeah.
R&B Next was created by two amazing individuals, Devin White and Deja B. Deja B is actually, they're both R&B artists. So
Oh
they
wow.
eat, sleep, and breathe R&B just like you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And they came up with this cool idea to team up and, put other independent R&B artists like myself on who, unfortunately don't have a lot of following right now. I
Yeah.
don't have the biggest amount of supporters or anything. So they got together and just created a great body of work that combined like literally R&B artists from all over the world. And it was such an amazing opportunity for me because literally everybody who was on the project, just about everybody on the project, I still communicate with today.
Oh
So I'm
wow.
working, I'm all about communicating with people, communicating with my peers who are also
Mm-hmm.
in music. Like I'm not really the one that's gonna like see you doing your thing and never congratulate you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very supportive. So to have that moment to work with people who are absolutely like creative and
Right.
talented, it was amazing for me, and it really helped out
Oh,
my career in like a lot of ways, like a lot of ways.
wow. And I seen that. I think that was really inspiring because, like I said, I'm a huge Mario fan. So when I
Yeah,
seen it, I'm like, okay, what is this about? So when I
right,
seen it, this
and
was like for up and coming artists. I'm like, okay, this is, kind of fresh and new. And like,
right,
one thing I love about independent artists, and I tell people all the time, like independent artists really for me are groundbreaking too, because they're not controlled by nothing. They do their own thing. It's very, therapeutic, it's very expressive, but
yeah.
it's them.
I always
And
say
that,
we the blueprint. Like
come
we're
on.
the blueprint. Yes.
You better let these people know y'all the blueprint,
Right.
okay? Because I always
Absolutely.
say that even though you may not have a big following, trust, people are watching you. I
Yeah.
always said that. And people
Always.
be thinking like, oh, I used to think too for myself, like, ain't nobody watching me. No, they watching you. Like, Eli, they're watching you, trust.
Yeah.
I mean, when you make some noise, especially with that R&B next thing, I know you were making
Yeah.
some noise in that. And like for
Mm,
that, industry people, they try to see, who's the next big thing. But
exactly.
as long as you stay authentic and true to yourself, nobody's not gonna take advantage of you. You get what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
was really proud that you did that. And I was like, really, okay, I want to see what he's about. And, since I seen it, I like the music, I like the sound. Even though it's like a futuristic sound, but it's R&B music. Music, it has that feeling, it has that, that
Mm,
soul. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah.
love, your
Thank you.
lyricism, your lyrics. You talk about, and we're gonna get to the EP 22. I want to ask you about what that meant with the 22. I don't know if it's your age or
Yeah.
how did that come about, but
Got
what I
you.
understood from this EP is it's very, it has a neo soul mood, it has a
Mhm.
R&B vibe, it has a beat vibe. But my thing about it is you can get into the understanding that it is R&B music and not
Right.
just pop. You know?
Right. Got you. Got you. Yes, and I actually found your profile from your interview with Dondria. So, like, that was my
Oh,
first interaction, or like my first time seeing you and experiencing your work, and I was just like, this
yeah.
lady is a great interviewer. So,
Oh,
I like, scouted you out, followed you, everything. So, it really meant a lot that you were on board with not only just like supporting me, but really listening to my music and really like diving into it and just being a fan of just like art to
yeah.
where whether a person is just starting out or is the most popular thing out here, it doesn't control or
No.
change listening to giving them an ear, and I
Yeah.
appreciate
Oh yeah, definitely. I think a person that really inspired me to understand, I think independent artists had to be Victoria Monet.
it.
That Jaguar, oh
Yeah.
my God.
And when I seen you post that, that's when I was like, okay, I should share my music with her because I really like I've seen so many R&B pages that cater to the 90s and 2000s, and
Yeah.
of course that's what was the main root of my EP and
Hmm.
everything like that. But I do also love the new age of music, the new age of R&B. So I
Hmm.
really appreciated you for not only highlighting the past eras, but the current eras as well, because there's really a lot of great R&B artists out here right now that are doing amazing. Like
Mm.
I'm doing amazing and really putting on for real R&B music.
Yeah, yeah. And like my friend JR, who I'll go all
Yeah.
the time live with, he that current R&B bangers, that's his show. He
Yeah.
talks about those current R&B, R&B people that are represented for R&B for what we know. And so
Gotcha.
when you have people that are really in the present time that really have to find it, I know for us sometimes you really have to find that R&B. But I
Hmm.
wanted to give you a chance and like you say, hey, he might have something here, so let me just listen to him. And I think your vibe, your groove, had made me like, okay, he got something here. Let me give him a shot
Yeah.
and let me just not even just a shot, but my thing about it is an opportunity to even
Yeah.
express who you are as an
Yeah.
artist.
And I
So yeah, and
and
so
that's the main reason behind 22 is just to express myself as an
mm,
artist. Yeah.
so now we get to talk about this 22, this EP
Yes.
that congratulations that's been out for a
Thank
while
you.
now. I can't
Yeah.
wait till it makes 1 year. I know you're gonna be cutting up when the 1 year
Whew,
anniversary
I know.
comes.
I'm gonna be cutting up. I'm ready to see what the streams looking like because they're looking good
Okay.
now. So
Well,
I'm
let me
ready.
say this: Nobody's Lover is like your most streamed song so
Yeah,
far,
that's my top
and
song.
I love Nobody's Lover
Thank
because I
you.
realized that when I was listening to it, I'm like, this is a Dina Howard homage type of
Right.
thing. And I'm like, okay, this is a dude coming from a female because
Right.
Dina Howard, she was a strong type
Right.
of
Yeah.
chick, that was
Got
expressing
you.
her
Yeah.
sexuality. So why did you go that level with that, and why did you want to talk in that retrospect from a man's perspective?
Got you. Well, it was very outside of what the song entails and everything like that. Very important for me to. I'm known as like the sophisticated person. Some people call me old man. I'm very southern.
He
Like
said, "Oh
I'm
man,
the most like hip
yeah."
person I would say, but I like to showcase all of my coolness in music. Like growing up, I never thought I was that cool, but when I found music, I was like, you pretty cool." So I like to exude all of my worldly
Yeah.
knowledge into my music because it's not every day that a person gets to talk to me like this, but
Right.
they can hear me in my music. So every
Mm.
song you won't get that, but it was important for me in my EP to have a song that really showcased I'm young. At the time I was 22, and I really
Mm.
to highlight what was being talked about in the music. Now I know we all know rap is the new pop. Rap is pop
Yeah.
now, and especially in the female world, female rappers, female artists, female R&B artists, they're very driven around like,
Yeah.
I want the man, but I just want his money. I don't want
Mm.
to be single. My body is mine. This is, and I knew that I had a lot of female listeners. I knew that I had a lot of listeners just in general who would connect to that message. And I really just
Right.
want to have fun. Like I will say 22 was a conceptual project. It was definitely me paying homage to the eras that came before me. I really want
Mm,
my first body of work. I could always look back 10 to 20 years from now and be like, okay, this was maybe a risk to some artists, a risk to some people to drop contemporary R&B. A lot of people don't listen to it anymore. A lot of people try to shy away from contemporary. But I feel like it was my duty to make sure my first project had that element of 2000s, the first verse, your hook, your chorus, your second verse, another hook, chorus, a strong,
right.
that people forget about that today in
Come
today's
on.
music. So I wanted to implement that. And,
Mm,
with Nobody's Lover, it definitely caters more to the today's sound, but I still want
mm-hmm.
to add that 90s slash early 2000s element. So the first thing that came to mind was that sample. And I was just like, and the guy actually, another artist, Trent Dominic, shout out to him. He actually reached out to me and was like, "Oh, you sample? I want to be with you." Woo. Yeah, and I never
Oh,
realized that. Like, and this shows you like music is so powerful. And Adina Howard actually sampled that song. So like, you never
wow.
know. You learn just by creating. So
Right.
I realized I sample more R&B and more like history than I really knew at the time. So yeah,
Right.
that song was definitely just me wanting to express like even outside of what the song talked about.
Mm.
We belong to nobody, and
Come on.
society's pressure, society's labels, society's
Right.
opinions are just too deadly in today's time. And I just
Right.
like to continue to just praise independence and
Mm-hmm.
freedom, sexual freedom, all types of, just people being themselves and being appreciative of who they are, So
Right.
that's really what Nobody's Lover stood for to me.
Come on. Like I said, that's what I'm talking about. Come through because when you listen to Nobody's Lover, like you get that Adina high, but it's like you're nobody's lover. You're not obligated to be controlled by somebody. And I always say you have to have your own identity and just
Exactly.
be who you are. And that's why I just love about Nobody's Lover. Like the beat was really different, but it was
Yeah.
like futuristic. But you could tell it was like a homage to some
Yeah.
decade in the era. So I get what you were doing. You were like making a twist to it, but my thing about it, you made it to a current
Mm,
time. So I
yeah.
like that. I understand now what you meant by that. But I
Yes.
want to
And I
talk
just
about.
want to shout out to before we get to the
Oh,
next
go
question, I
ahead.
want to shout
Yeah.
really, really quick. My amazing, amazing, amazing engineer, Midas Black, he worked with me through this whole EP. I mean, for
Oh,
I was trying to find a solid producer, a solid sound engineer, and I started off recording with my good friend Autumn.
that's dope.
It's like yeah, to go to now, like it's really amazing to have found someone who's like right in my nick. They understand the importance of clarity in vocals and
Right.
all that stuff, in the production. So I really want to shout him out because if it wasn't for him, a lot of these songs would not sound like what you hear.
Oh, that's
He
dope.
really took my ideas and just made them literally like come to life. And
Mm-hmm.
I have to shout him out. I don't know if he's watching, but shout out to Midas Black. And he always said like that song right there gave him good ATL groove, like good ATL vibes and bounce. And
Yeah.
honestly, my dad is a rapper, and he grew up
Wow.
writing a lot of bars, and like he really loved that New York scene of hip hop and everything. So I really like hip hop. To me, I'm not the biggest hip hop and rap fan, but hip hop
Yeah.
really has a lot of grit. And a lot of
Yeah.
times in R&B, like it's very mellow, very slow, and people are scared to dance, people are scared to groove, and that's really what I thought about in creating Nobody's Lover and Show Me Love
Mm.
that are not really heard today. I really wanted to get that grit back in music and back in R&B
Yeah.
because like Aaliyah and other artists in the 90s and early 2000s, they had a lot of lyrics that were racy, a lot of lyrics that were like you would expect to come from a rapper. And
Right.
I want to have that element to my music. Like he's an R&B singer, but he like spitting like he a rapper.
Uh
So
huh. Yep.
flow and cadence, all of that is very important to me. And in
Definitely.
writing Nobody's Lover, I really wanted to go for something that was just unheard of. And
Mm.
I really think I kind of achieved that. And I'm really just proud of that song because I didn't know it was going to
Oh.
be this. That was my song I was worried about. So I'm really just like happy that song turned out to be a fan favorite.
Oh, well, yeah, and I love how you said grit because when you talk about grit, it's talking about, the meat of the part of the music, and like,
Yeah.
really that, that structure, that that it factor. And I feel like you said, with what you said with Aaliyah, with I'm starting to think about Rock the Boat. Rock the Boat was
Yes.
some really very racy lyrics, regardless of how the way she passed. But if
Mm-hmm.
we take that retrospect out and listen to the lyrics, she's talking about, rock the boat, like she
Right.
ready. So I'm like, in my back of my mind, as time goes by, but I think a lot of people don't think about it because of the way she passed. They
Right.
look at that mindset like, we don't think about Rock the Boat in the sexual nature, even though we know the lyrics are talking about that
Mm-hmm.
sexually. The passing of her was really a personal thing, so people did supersede it. But if you listen to the lyrics, she was really taking charge of, like, if you want this, show me
Yeah.
how you want it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I'm like, Leah was that girl, but
Yeah.
but she was like that anyway. So, but we'll
Yes.
get to that later on in the interview. But I want to talk to you about Too Many Times. I feel like Too
Yeah.
Many Times is that heartbreak record.
Yeah.
Child, if I've been through some stuff and I gave
Right.
you too many chances, that's too many times. Okay.
I
So how did
appreciate
you come up with that concept? And not even just that, was Too Many Times, it sounds like a real true story. It sounds like something you really went through personally.
Yeah, so I would say too many times ties in with the whole entire idea of 22. So to talk
Okay.
about the title of 22, that was my age at the time,
Mm.
and being 22, I feel like that period of 21 to 25 is like, that's the time period that nobody ever talks about. Like once you're
Yeah.
21, everybody's so excited, and then like once you're 25, they're excited, again. But in between that little period, it's like they don't really tell you about life. You don't really
No.
understand what you're going to experience between 21 and 25. And that's really, I feel like, when life really hits you in a lot of hard ways, especially when you have to deal with
Preach.
death and have to deal with, circumstances in the social world, like a pandemic and everything. So I really wanted to, I mean, it's a lot to talk about, but I heard you speak about in your interview.
Mm.
I mean, in regards to music, it's a lot to talk about sonically, lyrically,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot to talk about. But in regards to what you said earlier in your interview, a lot of people don't really speak about love and
No.
relationships in the way that they used to back in the day. And I feel like that storytelling aspect of music is so forgotten. And I really,
Yep.
I use that to drive like my pen 24/7. Like
Come
I just
on.
like
Come
being
on,
a
pen gang.
storyteller, and yeah, shout out to it. But being
The
a storyteller
songwriters.
is very right. It's very
Yeah.
important to just have that. I feel like R&B is a formula, and of
Mm.
course every artist has their formula to how they create. But
Yeah.
it's a certain formula to R&B, and it's never going to change. I mean, they set the tone in the 90s and 2000s, but for as long as R&B and blues has been current, it's not one genre, but it is a formula to it. And I feel like it's
Yeah.
important to know that love, soul, emotion is the root of R&B. And if it's
Come on.
forgotten, we just don't have music.
Oh.
I wanted to put that into my EP. And Too Many Times, honestly, was the first song that I wrote in regards to anything like new that whole year. So I had reasons, and then I didn't write again until I wrote Too Many Times. And I
Mm.
producer who was actually the producer of the whole EP. I found him on YouTube, which most artists have to search through YouTube to find their beats,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I looked up and found a guy who like really catered to that early 2000 sound, and that wasn't even my goal. Like I was writing all types of sounds.
Mm.
Diverse writer, so it was all types of sounds I was trying to go for. But I was trying to run from R&B, and I was like,
Mm. Yeah.
where my heart is at, and I have to get my stories out. So Too Many Times I wrote that song. It definitely was an honest story, but I really wanted to paint the picture of a young love, being 22.
Mm.
I didn't want to go for these, terms and this vernacular that was so mature when
Yeah.
I'm now a new farm adult. Now I'm 23, but at the time being 22, I'm like, I just feel like this is what I should express right now. And
Yeah.
Too Many Times set the tone for my whole project. Once I wrote that song, I realized, okay, this is a sound, and I need to kind of keep it in this pocket or in my bag, like you were saying earlier.
Okay.
I definitely tried to stay in the realm of that early 2000 sound, but
Yeah.
at the same time, Too Many Times it's still alternative in the beat. It's not a sound that you hear every day. The
Yeah.
vocals were very clear, which to talk about what the inspirations were, Full Moon was the only album I was listening to the entire time I recorded.
You talking about my favorite idol?
I'm talking about our favorite album.
Come
And
on, look,
title,
yes.
everybody's favorite artist, your favorite artist. And a lot of people, you know, a lot of people love Brandy. A lot of people
Hmm.
are inspired by her. People sing like her every day. You know, I really wanted to show a side of like, I feel like her artistry that a lot of people just don't think about, and that's the
Correct.
nuance and her subject matter. You know, Full Moon was literally centered around a relationship, and she
See,
showed you the
you
different
better.
like
That's
yeah,
how
she
you know
showed
you
you
know
like
your music.
different
You
yeah.
know your music. You know your look. I'm
Listen,
sorry to cut you off, but nobody does not talk about that.
yeah,
Thank you.
and
Thank you. Okay.
yeah,
Go ahead.
people
You
are
you
so
killed it.
centered around her stacks, her harmonies, of course, the vocals, the vocal runs. It's really more about, to me, the entire package. And she sells a song, she sells a message. And I thought that was so important when I'm listening to When You Touch Me. I'm sitting here
Oh,
thinking, like,
don't do that.
you
Don't do
know,
that. That's gonna make me get pregnant. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
but you know,
Whew.
every ad lib is important. Every lyric is important. Every
Right.
melody is important, and it has to be placed perfectly for the message to be told. It doesn't have to be vocally perfect to me, but as long
Hmm.
as the story is being told in the way that it should be, that's what makes me happy and what makes me feel like the song is a you know a hit.
Yes, I mean I agree, man, and you body that because I love what you said about
Thank
too many times because too many times reminds me of my you know my show R&B song relationships. What I do is I break down people's lyrics and I talk about in a retrospect of relationships. You get what I'm
you. Yeah.
saying?
Hmm.
Because you know a lot of the stories that you hear from music comes from you know either personal, maybe you know something of experience or maybe other people's experience, but it talks about in a real life situation, and that's what I do for my show. And I like when you said too many times because you know, think about it now more than you're talking about it. It makes so much sense on why the way we go through a lot of stuff, but we give it so many chances, or you know, too many times. Why do we keep going back
Hmm.
and forth? Or why are we in this? But I
Yeah.
love what you said about you know about Brandy's album because it does talk about that. But think about us, look at the meat of what the message is in the album,
Hmm.
and you bodied it. So I mean, I love that when you said that because people just look at you know the vocals and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong because she's one of the best vocals of our time,
Of
but
all
it's so much behind the
time.
words that people are not understanding
Yes, it's
that
so
you have to make sense of it. So
yeah.
you
Shout
know
out
your
to
music.
thank you. I want to say shout out to rest in peace LaShawn Daniels because
Oh
I mean honestly from it's so many inspirations that I have and through so
yeah,
many different chapters of my life I would pull
yeah,
from different artists and different
mm,
legends in the industry, even sometimes people outside of the industry. So
right.
it's a lot that's influenced the Eli Ahmad that you get today. But LaShawn Daniels in terms of Full Moon, in terms of
Mm,
work that he did with Tamar Braxton, in terms of all Tony Braxton, he really, really inspired me to show emotion in music, especially as a male,
yeah.
because so it's so forgotten. Like a lot of, I mean, we really don't even have that many R&B men in the industry today.
No, not really. No.
At the same
Mm-mm.
time, you want to be authentic to yourself, but you want to be different at the same time. You don't want to be
There you
what they've
go.
heard before. And in listening to LaShawn and Brandy's work and everyone else who was involved in Full Moon, it really just put me in a place of my own individual like creativity. And I
Yes.
didn't want to try to sound like Brandy. I didn't. Of course, that's my inspiration, but I wanted to show people you can pull many different things from her aside from just that vocal
Right.
great that she has because she was really an artist, a great performer,
Yeah.
stage presence. I mean, I look past the artistry. I look
Hmm.
towards stage presence, how you know, your showmanship, how you engage, just everything about her was just so well rounded. And I
Mm,
want to
mm, mm.
honor her in a way that if she never heard it, that's fine. But if she listened to it, I wanted her to hear like, wow, he got certain things that many people didn't think about.
Come on.
I
Yeah.
wanted
Oh, and
to
trust. She watch you, trust. If she do it, she'll watch you. Don't be fooled. She watch you. Do not be
yeah, I
fooled. But
appreciate
I just love how you said that she was a huge inspiration. That's why I say I can now looking at your EP now, I'm like, I get it. I
it.
truly get it now. So I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, like
And shout
you
out to Show Me Love because Show Me Love actually sampled a part from Full
oh
Moon.
wow.
So, and shout out to, of course, again, to highlight the remixes.
Hmm.
Shout out to Trey Ahmad for jumping on Nobody's Lover remix. And shout out to Nico Noir
Nico, that's the
uh,
one I want to tell you.
for Show
That
Me Love.
girl,
Yeah.
she sounds like Jasmine Sullivan to me.
And it's crazy. I think that's like her icon amongst many. So
Are
I'm
you
sure
serious?
the
She
love
sounds like her.
to Yeah, she's amazing. I mean, even outside of music, she supported me through my grandmother's passing and everything, and
Oh
just to
yeah.
have a like a kinship with her is just so amazing. So
Oh.
really appreciated both of those amazing artists for jumping on. And shout out to everybody who's in this live. I'm
Baby,
trying.
they is in here, honey. They is showing you so much love. Like your
I'm
people is supporting,
trying.
and I love that because, like I said, when that fan base grows and grows, and like I said, right now you got it. Because I mean, you
Thank
know
you.
your music and your understanding about the totality of how it is
Yeah.
to make a song, but not even that. You go so deep in crevices of how it is to build up a song and build up those
Mhm.
liner notes, and for yourself, and not even that for the music and what you're doing. So I'm
Yes.
proud of you. But I want to talk about
Thank you.
my favorite album cut, Real. Cause I love Real. You know what Real reminds me of? Real reminds me of Sailing by Avant. It
Got you.
reminds me of that. Like when I listen to Real, I'm like,
Uh,
it can turn pop, but it's like it's R&B. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? But I
And
love Avant Real.
again, to take it back to my amazing, thank you so much, by the way.
I love
Avant is
it.
amazing. The clearest tone out of any male singer I think I've heard. So
Come on,
let's just shout out
facts.
him really fast. But yes, my amazing producer slash engineer, Midas Black, he literally transformed that song. Like that beat was originally hip hop. It really reminded
What?
me a lot of Cupid from Cupid 112. So I
Yeah,
really
112.
heard
Okay.
a lot of that and a lot of I believe it's I forgot the gospel artist, but yes, it was a
Hmm.
certain gospel song that I heard a lot of that into. Just the chords and the guitar
Yeah.
met everything. But he really transformed that song around my melodies and
Mm.
everything. It, I mean, honestly, that was my first song that I would say creatively we transformed it into something completely different than what I had in my head. So
Oh
it
wow.
really came out to be something that was like you said, it could have went pop. I mean, it could have the
Yeah.
tone could have been pop, especially in the bridge and everything, but it's still those chords were so R&B, and of course my melodies I wanted to really just give authentically just me in that moment. And
Mm.
Real, out of all the songs that I wrote, all the songs that I wrote were conceptually like tied into each other, and Real
Yeah.
was really that song that sits in like the 90s and 2000s
Oh
because
yeah.
really just what I felt in that moment. I wrote it down, I went and recorded it, and it just came out, to be very raw and
Oh, Real
real.
was very real. Okay, do you
Yeah,
hear me? Like
look, no pun, but
I
yeah,
sat back and I say I would repeat that more. I think not to the other ones, but it's like that one really kind of when you have that one that just touches you a lot. That's
yeah,
the fan
yeah.
favorite, the one that's like the favorite album cut. It was something about Real. Like I sit back in my life and I'm like, was I real at times in my life? And I know I wasn't,
Exactly,
but I
exactly.
can resonate to it because I can
Yeah.
think about is real really you? Is this the real you? You get what I'm saying? I'm
Mm,
like, dang, Eli
yeah.
got a bop. I got a jam. I'm like, okay, I can get with Real, but
Thank
I love
you.
all of them. But I think, honestly, Real to me really touched something because I think,
Yeah,
like you said, the instrumentation, the sound,
yeah.
it was R&B, but you can tell it could transition into other genres. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, he got something here that I really like. So I love what you did with Real. Real was dope. I like Real.
Thank you. That song really, like I said, it spoke a lot of value to
Mm-hmm.
my childhood. I would say that song I feel like is my my little kid me
Yeah.
talking to adult me and just saying like, you here now. This song is something that I feel like I would have written at 5 years old.
Wow.
So
Hmm.
it's definitely coming from a person who's shy, a person who, when I was young, I didn't speak up a lot. This
Yeah.
song highlighted the darkness of that, and just not
Yeah.
as an adult, and that transcending into your relationships, not only romantic relationships, but platonic relationships as well, relationships,
Yeah.
friends. Like you said, sometimes not really realizing in that moment, am I being real? Am I being my authentic self?
Come on.
It's a lot of ways that song could go, but definitely in that moment, I would just say that was definitely my 100% feelings at the time, and I really
Wow.
use that song to tribute how far I've come. Even
Mm.
artistry in life, in all aspects. I really want to use that song to tribute my growth.
Oh, and I love that because one thing about music, it makes you change the way who you are as a person. Like, because I mean, like it is, it's like life. You changing in life, you changing, your growth, you change as
Yes.
yourself. But I love how you said in childhood, it can really, really transition you to transition your life into different ways. And like I said, if you don't get it correct now, it can affect you in your relationships. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? I love
That's
how you
very
said that
true.
because I know for me, I can speak on a personal level, I was not very open or, to how I am expressive because, like I said, personal stuff. And if
Yeah.
you're not really understanding of how the way things have started in your life, you have to understand who you are as a person. That's why, I sit back and think about, wow, my life. And, I was,
Hmm.
talking to a lot of people like, things I wish I would have changed. But, in all honesty, it's all about forgiveness. It's all about letting go. But you have to be real authentic to yourself and find
Yeah.
yourself again. So
Yeah.
I love how you said that about
Yeah.
real is real.
I wouldn't say it's a tear jerker, but it's an emotional jerker for
Oh
sure.
yeah,
It makes you think about some things, and you have to listen to it a few times. The first
yeah.
time you listen to that song, it's not one of those songs you just play, to vibe or anything. It's a
Yeah.
meaningful song, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted. I mean, I still have time to carve out my debut album, but ideally, my first project in general, I really wanted a song that wasn't necessarily. Well, I really wanted a gospel song. I wanted
Mm,
spiritual song. I feel like every R&B album should have that. I feel like that's also another formula to an album, an
I agree.
EP. But I definitely love what Real turned into because even though it wasn't spiritual in that aspect, it was still spiritual to me and
Mm,
to my soul. So it was a good way to close out that project. Shout out to my friend LaRon. He literally went through and broke down every single song and was like from start to finish, like you really put every song together perfectly to make sure
come
the
on.
was told. And I really wanted to make sure that Real closed out the story because it just had that feeling to it, the end of a
Man, you did that. So well, let's talk about Show Me Love. So Show Me Love. Talk about Show Me Love.
yeah. Well, I actually said I wasn't going to talk about this, but Show Me Love
Mm,
actually was written in like, I don't know like which person view, like third person or whatever, but it was
okay.
written about someone else's situation. And it was
Oh,
about someone else's feelings, I should say. And maybe
got
someone
you.
else's feelings more so than someone else's situation, but it wasn't necessarily my perspective.
Hmm.
I'm very inspired by a lot of things that were being said to me. And I wanted to just put that into a song and put that into a song that would be something of what I like to say could be played at the family cookout. Like I feel like
Come on.
so much music we hear today is like
Yeah.
groove and lacking
Mhm.
feeling and emotion. Like it's like today's music has no seasoning. And
No, it does
you
not.
need the onion powder, you need the garlic powder, you need black pepper, you need everything. And Show Me Love, I wanted to make sure I recorded that song in one session. That was a
Oh,
take one session kind of thing. It was a last minute thing. I needed a song to fill in that gap between Nobody's Lover and the Do Me Wrong interlude. So
mm,
like something that really just came to me. I pushed my pen on that song. I, was in love with the beat. I didn't hear anything R&B in the beat, but I said I'm gonna make it R&B today.
okay.
And that Brandy sample came to me. I mean, Apart by Brandy is actually
Oh
an
gosh,
underrated song by her. I mean,
it
it's very
is.
neo soul, and it's a sound that I really didn't think Brandy had under her. Her many sounds, her many albums, many songs. I didn't think she had that specific sound under her belt,
Right.
and I was just surprised to hear what all the melodies and all of the just the way she expressed her emotion about
Yeah.
something not working out. It really stood out to me, and I wanted to take what she expressed in that song and turn it into like a more modern day feeling. Like you
That's
don't show me,
dope.
so why am I here?
Oh,
Yeah,
come on, come through
important.
with the other third perspective of other
Right.
people's stuff. But I love that because I mean, for you, like, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel the response of the EP 22 has really kind of gravitated to a lot of people, like we kind of talked about with other people? Like, how do you feel that people are really understanding your craft and your artistry about what you did for 22? But not even that, you're telling from your expressive point of view when you were the age of 22.
Yes, yes. I actually turned 23 a month after the release, so
Oh,
I
wow.
wasn't 22 wasn't 22 for long, but
Right.
it definitely was my emotion and my
Right.
life at the time. And every song was, of course, centered around love, but each song had being that I was going through so much, during that
Yeah.
time, especially losing my grandmother, each song had so much importance in every line, every melody.
Mm,
So even though what you guys hear may be about a relationship or maybe about love or something like that, for
yes.
me, it transcends into so much more because I really write. from a much more conceptual aspect, because to me, a song
Mm-hmm.
tell so many different stories. You have
Oh,
3 minutes
wow.
to tell a story, but you can really tell a lot in that time. So I really just
Wow.
really try to think about that when I'm writing and creating.
Well, that's dope. I love how you said that. That's really, when you said conceptual standpoint. You know who does that too? Alicia Keys. I remember she talked about what was it, Love You Like You Never See Me Again? I thought
Yeah,
that was all about love. That was so
right.
about her grandmother. And I was shocked. And
Yeah,
I was like, what? And
and
I
it's
didn't,
amazing. It's
yeah,
amazing because my best friend, literally cannot listen to that song because it's like she thinks about, a past loved one, and I
yeah,
never understood that because I felt it was very centered around, love and romance. But now hearing you say that, it just like
yeah,
it's like,
it's different.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
but
makes sense.
I get it though, because I think what the video was portraying was like, when you may lose somebody or do lose somebody, you have to really love them with all your heart, or they
Yeah,
won't be here tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? That's
mhm,
why I just love, like you said, it does kind of portray a relationship. But when you sit back and listen to the lyrics, like you said, and
yes,
understand the concept where she was going with, and the perspective was like, okay, you know what, it makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, it can be taken into retrospect, like, I love what we said about Mariah Carey. Like, I think when I did last year, Don't Forget About Us with Muse,
yes,
don't forget about us. She knew the story to what she did, but she didn't want to tell the story because she didn't want to ruin the concept. Because she was like, your perspective may be different from mine, so I'm gonna let you think it's Don't Forget About Us is this, but it's your choice. Because
yeah,
I'm the songwriter, I get it, but at the same time, I want to let you feel for what you feel for what you want, and it's okay because I don't really trip over. Because when I really hear the concept back then, it's like, okay, I get it now. Sometimes it
yeah,
may not be about a relationship. It's probably something totally different. But I think
mhm,
when you sit back and think about it, music can heal from all other walks of life.
right.
You
In
know?
all aspects, exactly. And to
Exactly.
to talk about Alicia Keys and Mariah
Hmm.
Carey. Those are two heavy, heavy inspirations. The first song I ever sung, according to my grandmother, rest her soul, was Alicia Keys.
Um,
And her first album during my awareness as a
mm.
child, towards music, that album really, really like, I wouldn't say it spoke to me because I was too young, but melodically, something about it just clicked
Yeah.
because I just was singing Alicia. I even wanted to go. I took piano lessons and everything later on in life in hopes to just be like the male Alicia Keys, which that turned into something else. But
Right.
Alicia's music, her "As I Am" album, my
Oh.
grandfather brought that album and played like. So he bought the album just to play "No One," which was like the hit
Oh
single.
yeah.
So he
Child, they
bought the
wore that
whole
song
album.
out.
Right. He bought the album and he still doesn't realize to this day that whole album changed my life because that
Oh.
that album really inspired me in so many ways. I mean, that was an amazing body of work. As I Am
I did
is
too.
still to this day the best R&B album,
I
like
love.
top 10,
And
definitely.
that's, you know what, I love that you said that, because a lot of people don't big it up, but I love As I Am. That's one of my
Yes.
favorites too from her.
Yes.
But you know what makes me think about too many times, lesson learned.
Yes. I love that.
Man, is that man? Just think
Ooh,
about it, I'm like, dang.
her
It
instrumentation in that album, the album was genreless. She definitely showed she showed her musicianship.
did
And
she?
she
Okay.
showed, how talented she is and
Yeah.
just past what we see from her, which is playing the piano and
Right.
performing that pen, her nuance, everything about how she just sold that album was just amazing to me. She taught me how to sell an album, how to make an album.
Okay.
So
Exactly. That.
to further that as well, Destiny Child, TLC, all like that era, I would say that carried from the late '90s up until
Mm-hmm.
the early 2000s when I was a child. It was so influential.
Mm-hmm.
Artists. I feel like that whole sound is repeating itself today,
It
and a lot of
is.
people realize it. They're just listening to the music that's dropping today, not realizing the depth that it has, and just showing how important the early 2000s and the '90s were,
Oh yeah.
to music.
Oh yeah, because everybody calls it the golden age. And now if you see it, so many people sample from that era and that decade,
Yes,
even 2000s, like you said. I
yes,
mean, for No Money, which just ain't No Money, for example, she sampled 1 million by Aaliyah.
yeah,
Aaliyah's been gone for 20 years and she's
a
still
long,
getting sampled. You know what I'm saying? But it goes to show you that at that decade, and like I said, I love how you point out the 90s and the
mhm,
2000s. Like, a lot of people don't talk about it, but 2000s get sampled heavily.
a lot. Yes,
It does. And it's
hmm
like, you really have to sit back and think, like, dang, it really was an influential time. But, like like me and my friend JR was saying, music changed. It
It,
changed a lot.
it,
It really did. So
and the
let's,
business aspect of it
yeah,
has a lot to do with why the music we hear today is the way it is. You know, I'm in
yeah.
a sociology of music course. I
Okay.
majored in sociology in school, by the way. But outside of that, I learned so much in that course in regards to already a lot of things of what I knew, but just the terminology that we
Right.
have to describe the things that happen in the industry is just really unreal. And your average person doesn't know about that. So
Right.
the consumers, when they're getting the product, they don't really
Hmm.
realize what goes into the behind the scenes of this product. And I think that's where me being an aware person, that's where I like to learn from because to be in this world, to be in this industry, you know, not knowing anything, that knowledge is what's going to take you far. Your talent can take
Right.
you to a certain point, but your knowledge of what goes on, how it's supposed to happen, that is very, very important.
Right. So true. Well, we got a long R&B legend up in here. R&B songwriter, Mr. Mara Savage. Hey, ma'am. The
Shout
one,
out
yes. The one
to-
that the songwriter that made Heartbreak Hotel and
Oh wow!
yeah,
I
she
actually seen you talk about that, so that's
yes.
crazy.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, sis. We know we love your pen game, honey. You done wrote so many classics
Yeah,
for Monica and all that, but it goes to show you when you have songwriters like that that's coming in there, you know, to show you love, that's really dope too. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
but like I said, you're a songwriter, so you know how this is. But I love how you say that, Eli. So my question, another question I feel like, since we're talking about R&B, do you feel that the past R&B music is coming back?
I yes and no.
Okay.
I feel like what's already done will forever be recreated. It
Yeah.
will forever be tributed. It will forever be sampled. You
Hmm.
know, referred to. It's
Yeah.
gonna always be like the staple. But I do feel like that level of talent is just not in the newer generation of,
Yeah.
and that includes my generation, Gen Z. We are a lot to blame as to why music, you know,
Hmm.
has taken such a turn. And at the same time, I feel like, you know, there's a lot of great artists out here. And,
Yeah.
you know, music has turned into something that is a little more, I would say, oversaturated. But
Yeah.
that's only a certain bracket of music. And I think if
Yeah.
you're still paying attention to that mainstream world, I think maybe you're the problem because
Okay. There you
the
go.
mainstream world can only produce so much. They're never going
Right.
to give you that early Usher, you know, Confessions. They're not going to give you
Come on.
Aaliyah, the Red album, you know, her last self-titled album. They're not going to give you that. You know, they're going to give you
No.
they feel like the consumers can receive today. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, people don't have the mindset to listen to music how they used to. So
Yeah.
because of that, music is very oversaturated. It's empty,
Mm. Yeah.
and you have to be a very brave person like myself to dive into that world of contemporary R&B and the R&B that isn't so well received today. You know, to
Yeah.
kind of bring that aspect back. But still, to this day, you know, me being a younger artist just coming up, I still have a
Right.
lot of aspects that are different from the '90s and early 2000s. So
Right.
it'll never be the same. It'll never be how it used to be, but it'll always be heavily referred to. I feel it'll always be
Right.
looked at the top moment of music. I feel
Right. Right. And I agree 100% because I've gotten to a point to where I'm starting to accept it for what it is now, as into like, you know, R&B.
same.
But you see what T-Pain said. T-Pain said,
Yeah,
do something else. So you know how he went
exactly
crazy over that.
that.
But it's going to show you that, you know, I've come to an understanding too that you have to find R&B. R&B's not going to
Yeah,
find you.
exactly.
And we've gotten to a point, I've gotten to a point in my life, you know, let me get a chance to discover people. And I think doing this page, it has opened me up to
Mhm.
like up and coming artists. Cause like if I see, you know, people on their, you know, their promos and tag them and just see it, I'm open to like listen to their music. So
Yeah,
I've gotten to a point where I want to think outside the box and say, hey, I just don't want to be just, you know, I get it. I honor my people and all the people that came, you know, now. But now we have a new breed too that we want to give big ups to it that's making real R&B music. What I feel in my perspective is real, but at the same time as I need to be opening up to go find and search it within myself.
exactly.
So I agree with you 100% on that. And I just really feel like, you know, at this point, I like how you said that we have to understand to accept it for what it is. But I think in all, it's not Generation Z.
Mm,
It's a lot of blame to go around on everybody.
right.
But
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
like, in all honesty, too, the big people have a lot to do with what happened with
Mm-hmm.
music too. So we
Yeah.
just can't really just say the consumer, because it's always the
Yes.
people who drive the
Mm-hmm.
consumer to the
The
brand.
machine, yes, the
So
machine.
yeah, it's the machine. So it's just like, we have to be a force to do that, and find it within ourselves. But I love how you said that, because at this point, I'm really at this point now. To me, it's like I don't think the past will come back, but you have to find it within yourself to look in the future.
Yeah.
So
Um,
this is dope. So I just, Eli, you are just dope, and I love
Thank
you, and I
you.
love St. James and everybody. But I wanted to tell
Yes.
you too, since today is the 20th anniversary of Miss, the
Yes.
late great R&B princess of
Yes.
R&B, Miss Aaliyah.
Yes.
Today is the beautiful album, her third album, Aaliyah. I wanted to ask you, do you have any memories about the album, or do you have a memory about Aaliyah? What is your intake on the album, and how do you feel about, celebrating for today, what it is?
Yes. Well, I just want to say congratulations again to you for
Oh,
bagging that interview with one of the producers or the producer of that album.
oh,
That was
thank you.
the experience. I know it was amazing for you to experience.
I was
Just
nervous as hell.
I,
people
I would
don't
be
people
too.
don't realize I was nervous in that live. Look, don't be fooled.
I
Yeah.
understand that. I'm a nervous person, so I get it. But no, you did amazing. You always do amazing. Aaliyah, honestly, my aunt was a huge fan of just that whole era of music. She's a millennial,
Oh
so
yeah,
that
like me.
whole yes, that whole I like that whole era, just everything. Growing up, Aaliyah was definitely played around me. I took to her because of her futuristic videos and just how
Yeah.
evolutionary it just was at that time. And
Mm,
honestly, her death is still very like foggy to me because I was like I think I was like two or like one or two at the time. So growing up and her music being so popular and then she not
yeah.
being here, I really like am still to this day piecing a lot together. So
Yeah.
that Red album, the music was always like the singles. I think it was like five singles that were like very popular, just with
Yeah.
Care for You and of course Rock the Boat,
Yeah.
uh, More Than a Woman,
Yeah.
all of that. I mean, those songs were played constantly, like
Oh
constantly.
yeah, they were constantly played. Yeah.
Yes, I knew all of the singles from the album, but I never knew like the songs that were lying, within the album until,
Yeah.
you encouraged me to go and listen to it because we were celebrating everything. So I really, honestly, the biggest like thing that I like, the most surprising thing about that whole album for her was just Static Major's impact. I mean, I really didn't even know that he was involved.
Ooh.
I didn't realize his pen was that strong. Loose Rap, I hear you talk about that all day, but Loose Rap
Oh
is
look.
really that song. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Did him, Eric, and everybody.
yeah,
Oh, they did that.
they did the entire album, and I liked what Eric said about the the one word he would put, to the album being diverse, and I feel like that's exactly what Aaliyah was. I think she was such a driving force in the industry because she wasn't one type of R&B artist. R&B is
Yeah.
not just slow music, soul. It's not just that. You get so many elements of R&B music,
Right.
and she was that artist that would give you that and
Yeah.
groove, dance, all of what she provided in her music was just so, I would say, healing, and just all my life I loved I Care for You, but recently, like within the last, I would say about 4 years, Rock the Boat became my favorite song. Like just that whole aspect of hearing those melodies and like harmonies and
Yeah.
everything, and then just dancing. Like you're dancing like you're listening to hip hop. And of
Yeah.
course, that's again a driving force in my music because people need to dance again. They need to groove again,
Yeah.
be able to sing along while doing so, and feel confident about the music. And she
Yeah.
definitely had that full package. Like,
Yeah. Definitely for sure. And I love how you said that, because like you said, Static's pen is lethal. And I tell people all the time, y'all be fooled, but Static was that dude. He
yeah,
was the
but
dude
see, I
behind a
was
lot of
introduced to
folks.
him through Lollipop, of course, as
Yep,
the
because of the
typical Gen Z, like I'm
yeah.
here learning who he was through Lil Wayne, not realizing this is actually an R&B legend on top of just breaking down boundaries and genres in general. So it's like
Yep.
he's definitely well,
Hmm.
well-rounded. Rest in peace to him as well. Yeah, that was an amazing thing to experience and learn.
Um.
So I wouldn't say late in my career because it's still early, but definitely
Mhm.
learn at this point in life at 23 how influential Aaliyah was and who was involved in her process is really mind blowing for real.
Yeah, yeah. And I love how you said that. Yeah, definitely for sure. I just wish the music would be out on, out on stuff, but I understand,
Yeah.
because of other things. But
Yes, because it would
I,
definitely reach a wider audience. I mean, everybody knows who she is, but those
yeah.
outlets, like you like to say, nobody thinks about that. Like nobody
Mm-mm.
thinks about it's whatever. My first time hearing that song was recently, so it's like,
I believe it.
I'm just like, wow, I'm floored at the way that her music really captured the future, which is
Hmm.
where we are today. A lot of that she was doing at that
Yeah.
time, and to compare, not to compare, but definitely that full moon aspect, it definitely transcends into, you know,
See,
just
you know
what
your
Leah
damn
was doing
music.
and
You
everything, you know.
You know your damn music. That's why I got to give you your respect. But yes,
Thank
because once that came out, everybody was going straight to the full moon stuff.
you.
That's where, in all honesty, and me and my friend JR, we talked about this. We felt like that's where Brandy got her influence from that album, because you could tell it was going in a direction.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
sadly,
just
she
threw
passed
myself on
away.
that.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
already know. Okay,
yeah,
so I just love how you said that, and like I'm just so happy that you're a guy that does your research, and it's okay because, like I said, I may be 30, about to be 32, but my thing about I still research people. You know what I'm saying? So it's
exactly.
just like you still have to be understanding, like be knowledgeable about the music. But I love how you said about Rock the Boat, because everybody talks about Rock the Boat being like one of their favorite songs from her
Yeah,
catalog. You know what I'm saying? So it just goes to show you that Eric and Rapture, shout out to both of them. They made a
amazing.
classic. I mean, great. I mean, Static, his pen, to Rock the Boat really changed the whole game. And,
Yeah,
sadly, him and Aaliyah are no longer here with us, but, we're
right.
so proud and so congratulatory of this album. Rest in
Yeah,
peace to Aaliyah and
yeah.
Static Major and everything they put into this. So I'm proud of you. And thank you so much for just, talking about Aaliyah and what she did for you. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
she
So, yeah.
definitely inspired
Oh,
me.
yeah.
So I'll always salute to her legacy.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you. Definitely for sure. So I want to ask you, is there another question? So is there anybody you want to collaborate in this industry, or somebody that you aspire to want to collaborate?
Yes, well, of course, my top would be Brandy,
Yeah, I
obviously.
know that Brandy was one of them.
Yes, but well, I wouldn't say she's my top, but I definitely would love to work with her on numerous amount of levels. I would love to just have her. I would love to shadow her, have her come in and just help me, you know, record and
Yeah.
sing and vocalize, better. But I really, it's so many people that I love. Like a fellow independent artist, Ray Louise, she inspires me so much. She's also
Oh,
like fruit off of Brandy's tree as well, but she's definitely like she has a lot of Faith Evans in her music, a
oh
lot of
yeah.
Hathaway, but she gives that like groovy, like that like she puts the emphasis on beats. She puts the
Yeah.
grooviness and just dancing and that
Yeah.
feel good vibe of music. So I would definitely say I would love to collaborate with her. I actually talk about it with her all the time. I'm like, we're gonna
Oh,
collab one day. So she's like my top favorite artist, and her being independent just makes it even better. I would love to work with Mariah Carey. I think songwriting is always something that people forget about when they think about Mariah Carey, and they don't
yeah.
realize that's the main thing that took her career to from being like that vocalist to being that
Yep.
hit maker.
Her
And
pen is lethal too.
yes, that pen is lethal. And she taught me vocabulary.
Oh, okay, because about
Yeah, she's
look
a
here.
dictionary.
Okay, and that
So,
and it made so much sense. But that's how you
yeah,
know when you can write.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
But
Well,
it's a lot of people. Like I honestly, my songwriters, like my list of songwriters, I have to go through them because it's like it's so much on me for people to pay attention to
yeah.
song. And Priscilla Renee is my top. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's my top songwriter,
Hmm.
favorite songwriter. I've actually had a chance to engage with her. She's super sweet and
Oh wow.
she's amazing. Jonte Austin, Rico Love,
Jonte. Whoo.
Cox. He actually just reposted my post when I said I wanted him to be on my debut album. So hopefully that'll
Come on, speak it in
right,
existence.
that'll,
Speak for yourself. Exactly.
yes, I'm trying to speak everything into existence.
That's
So
right. That's
Jonte
right.
Austin, I love Stacey Barth.
Hmm.
She
Oh, I've heard of her. Yeah, I know
so
exactly what you're talking about.
she
Yep.
did a lot of work with Brandy, a lot of
Hmm.
work with I mean everybody, and I think now she's working with Diddy on new stuff. So
Oh,
she's
yep. I know exactly
yeah,
what you're talking about. I
uh,
know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. And
Yeah.
the new writers, I would say, like Victoria Monet, we talk about her. She's definitely
Love
paving the
her.
way for a lot of people coming in because that new, like, we had the Esther the Priscilla Renee's, then you go back to like
Hmm.
the 90s, early 2000s, you had Jonte Austins and the Brian Michael
Yep.
Cox of the world, but you don't really have those staple songwriters today. And I feel like
Hmm.
people like Victoria Monet and Nigel Charles, they're bringing that emphasis back to the behind the scenes
Yes.
world where, you can also succeed there. Everybody wants to be the star now, but nobody realizes it takes a village and a team to make that star happen. The music that we
That's
do today takes so many people to
right.
produce and to get out there. So
Cause
I
what she did for Brandy for B7, child.
rather be
Shit.
is arguably Brandy's best song, and it's not because it's new. It's just because it's scoped, like it's carved like around Brandy, and I love that. And it takes a
Yeah.
true songwriter to not only look at what you may want to talk about, but who you
Right.
are, as an artist, and what you sound like, and to be able to put that into a song. I think that's talent, and
Yeah.
shout out to all the songwriters in the new age of this new era.
That's dope. That's dope. I love how you said that. But I'm happy that you're picking up a lot of the new ones because I think we
Yeah,
do get caught up in the old ones. Don't get me wrong, because they did set the way, pave
yeah,
the way for us.
staple.
But
Yes, they're the staple.
definitely, they're very the staple. But I feel like too, Victoria Monet, she's a person that I love so much, and I think what she did for Jaguar
Yeah,
moment that
yeah,
I had a lot of moments with that song. I mean,
yeah,
child, that was my who? I mean, that
yeah,
song was like my most played song of 2020. Like, I love that song. And
yeah.
it
It's
goes
amazing.
to show you when you can really hit the person through the soul with that, you can really understand and like really, be knowledgeable about people and their stuff. I mean, and then we got the
Mhm.
R&B representatives up in here. Hey guys,
Shout
you
it
got
out.
some folks up here that's cutting up. Yes, come on, legends. Y'all be coming up in here. Look, come and support our people because we're
Yes,
R&B
need it.
heads.
Yeah.
And so, I just love how you big up. So just so proud of you and just thankful enough. And I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice you want to give to somebody that's trying to make it to where you at right now in the industry?
Yes, well, definitely. Considering I'm just now starting out,
Mm-hmm.
22, I want to put an emphasis on the fact that it is my first body of work, alongside 22 the remix. It's very important for me which the remixes was a whole just idea that just came to life. So I'm
Yeah.
to have that, but it's very important for me to remind people that I am a dream come true. Just releasing music, not having the platform is another thing, but just to be able
Right.
to release the music it's really a dream come true. So I would really advise for people to get out here. If you really are talented about anything, I always say
Mm-hmm.
promotion is your number one key. You are your brand. Your name is your brand. I luckily have studied a lot of the mainstream world to know how to implement that into my music and into
Right.
my career. But it's very
Mm-hmm.
important for me to treat myself as the brand so that
Yeah.
if any type of machine or anything would be looking at me, they would at least know that I know what I'm talking about and I know what I'm doing
Amen.
in business. I'm not your dumb artist out here just looking to get ripped off. So I definitely want to say put an emphasis on your brand, put an emphasis on if you need logos, if you need, a trademark, all of that type of stuff is so important because
Yeah.
I mean, when people go to your page and you're a singer and you don't have anything there that's promoting that, people get lost in the sauce. So I really feel like it's important to make your entire world your brand. And
Yeah.
a lot of people laughed at me in the beginning before I even got to this point. So I never cared about that. I always just cared about taking myself serious,
That's right.
making myself the artist that I want to be. And I stood by that. I just think that's the best advice I could give. And also just being respectful, being nice to each other. I know that this is not
Mm-hmm.
a country that is about that. I know that it's
Mm-hmm.
that cares about your feelings or cares about your emotions. It's only about what can you do for me.
Right.
And get that, but that shouldn't deter you from being a solid person. It shouldn't deter you from
Mm.
a person who's willing to work with people and connect with
Right.
people. Being truly just a nice person all around, I think will get you far.
Come on.
You know, it's still not being a pushover, but definitely being a nice
Yeah.
person will get you far. I mean, it's a lot of advice I could give, but I definitely would just say believe in yourself.
Come on.
I literally posted something the other day. It costs nothing to believe in yourself, but it costs everything to give up on yourself. So I say right now.
Boy, you gonna make me snatch this wig. Don't make me snatch my wig out my doggone head. Child, baby, you and Eric C. Let me find out you were Eric C. in the making, sir.
Well, listen, I'll take it all.
Okay, okay.
I'll take it all. Like, I'm just honored to be in the presence of people who have paved the way for me to walk in this light. So it's
No.
amazing.
Oh my God! Look and look. You got somebody say, "Ooh, what a word!" I mean,
Yes,
yes, you
that's
are
my spirit.
preaching for everybody, and I love how you said that because we don't talk about being authentic, but we don't talk about loving each other because you know how this industry is, child. It's like a dog eat dog world, and you have to really be and like I love what Ryan Toby said on my interview. He said you got to be true to yourself. You got to stay true to
Mhm.
yourself. You cannot lose yourself because if you lose yourself in this, you didn't want to be famous. I mean, you didn't want it for the stuff. You want to be famous.
Exactly.
So it's just it makes you sit back and think like, wow, I really, really, truly understand
Yes.
how it is. But like I said, God didn't give me the voice of singing. No, He didn't. He gave me the understanding of music. So
Right.
no matter
Exactly.
what, it made me understand to really acknowledge singers, but not even that, understand the artistry and the craft and what it can do and gravitate to people. And like I said, you may can have one hit. That one hit can gravitate everybody in millions and
Mhm.
millions. Multiple hits, same thing. But my thing about is when you gravitate to people and R&B, you create a legacy for yourself. And
Yeah.
so I'm truly proud of you, Mr. Eli. We're
Yeah.
done with our almost done with our interview. So I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you before we do end tonight, and I just had a beautiful time with you. Do you have any
Thank
upcoming
you.
projects that you want to promote on the thing and let everybody know where you are and where can they get the music and everything else?
Yes. Well, I definitely want to still promote my fresh and new EP 22. It is it is me paying homage to the early 2000s, the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I definitely want people to listen to that, listen to it with an open ear and open heart, and just know that real R&B is still here.
Yeah.
I want people to listen to my remix tape. Shout out to
Dope.
again Trey Ahmad for jumping on Nobody's Lover. Amazing, amazing lyricist. And shout out to
Mm-hmm.
Nico Noir for jumping on Show Me Love. Amazing vocalist, amazing lyricist. Thank you so much to both of you guys for just joining me. Um, I don't have any upcoming projects. My only upcoming project is to graduate college.
Come
I
on,
have been
okay. Look,
trying
get that
for
education
a
while you
long
still making
yeah.
this music.
Exactly. Yes, I definitely am a person. For any of my supporters listening,
Yeah.
I definitely want to let you know I'm going to be that artist. It's going to take breaks in between releasing music. I feel like it's important to live life and to remember
Yes.
you are a person outside of this entity, which is music. So
Yeah.
I just really, I definitely have my goals of graduating and just getting more things done, getting healthy, working out, doing things on the outside so that when I put my product together, everything can
Right.
look the way that I want it to and be the way that I want
Exactly.
it. So that's my main goal right now. And honestly, again, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on because as an R&B artist, this is what you should work towards. If you're independent,
Yes.
or if you have the highest or the biggest major push behind you right now, I feel like you
Mhm.
should care about those people who genuinely
Yeah.
understand what R&B music is and genuinely care about what you have to say. Because there's so many people
Yeah.
who are you who just kind of, to go in one ear and out the other. But those people
Yeah.
who really take time to understand you and understand what you're
Right.
saying a lot, to artists like myself. So I'm just so appreciative to have this opportunity to speak with you. I know we'll work together again in the future. But
Yeah, I gotta
this is
have you
very
on R&B
special
song
to me.
relationships, honey.
Yes, I got to come.
Hmm.
Congratulations on that as well.
Oh, no, thank you. Anytime. And like I said, I want to let you know, Eli, what I've learned so much from you. You are a talent and
Thank you.
you really, really are knowledgeable. And I really sat down and understand like this man really, really is understanding the business of R&B, but not even just the business. You understand the passion, you love it, but you understand how it is to get into this music industry on that level first before you can make
Hmm.
the music. And that's what I love
Yeah.
about this interview. I really have to think about this. This is a dope interview. All the Who's Next people I've started to have, y'all really, really are very game changers. Y'all gonna be some
Yeah.
game changers. You and St.
Mhm.
James, I see your passion. You love it, but my thing about it, you're gonna do it your way and nobody
Yeah.
else's. And
Exactly.
so I am truly proud of you. I'm so
Thank
blessed to
you.
have you on my Who's Next
Thank you.
series. You are really gonna be something. I'm gonna post you tonight, honey. I mean, you
Thank you.
are a talent, and I
Thank you
just
so
wanted to
much.
give you, flowers
That
just
yes,
to open it up
I
for you,
receive.
just to receive them, honey. And you know
Yeah.
what? 22 for me. When I'm going through it, I can listen to it and think about it
Yeah.
like, okay, I truly get what he was saying now.
Yeah. And
I am
that's
truly
exactly what I made it for. So I appreciate that so much.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm truly proud of you. And like I said, congratulations on everything. And like I said, let me know if you have any upcoming projects. I got
Yeah,
you. I'll support you. I will
of
promote
course.
you. And just to make sure that you are really honored for what you do. So thank you so much from the bottom of my
Thank you
heart.
so
God
much.
bless you.
Thank you so much, and best of luck to you on all your future endeavors and future interviews. Thank you so much.
Um, Well, thank you from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. So now, guys, we are actually done with our Who's Next singer, Eli Ahmad. So next month, y'all, my birthday's coming up. So, a girl about to be 32. Okay. Leo season is
Happy early
on the way.
birthday!
Thank
Shout out to
you.
Leo. Shout out to Leo.
Yes. Oh yeah. Leo's all day. Leo gang.
I'm Taurus
So,
over here, but love for y'all too.
what sign are you?
I said I'm Taurus over here, but love for
Oh, my
y'all.
best friend's a Taurus.
Oh, look at us out
So
then.
my best friend he's 8 years. He's a
Wow.
Taurus. My
Yeah.
friend for life. We had our moments, child, but no matter what, he taught me some things, and I'm just
Yeah.
so proud of him. I love him with all my heart. But
Yeah.
definitely for sure, y'all. My birthday is coming up. So I'll be kind of taking a break for a while.
Yeah.
This next 2 weeks, just preparing for that and stuff like that. Next month, guys, please join me in the month of August, the first week of August, y'all. I will have the R&B legend and producer on August 7th, the one and only Antoine Bam McComb. Antoine Bam McComb. He is a dope producer, y'all. We're gonna be celebrating the 20th anniversary of Toya's album, Toya, the subtitle debut album, with a classic hit, I Do. If y'all remember that was a big record back in the day. This man has made so many hits. He actually produced Dilemma by Nelly and Kelly. He's
Wow.
produced so many stuff. I mean, he did My Baby for Bow Wow and Jagged Edge.
Wow.
This guy has produced so many hits. And I just want to honor him on my show next month because we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Toya's album. And also, y'all, I'm getting ready for the next R&B Song Relationships episode 2. But guys, please also y'all tune in for my R&B Song Relationship. I just dropped season 2. Y'all, we just celebrated the 20th anniversary of Aaliyah's album that dropped today. And not only that, my first episode was We Need a Resolution. So y'all, please stream, go on platforms, make sure that you stream, and make sure you listen to the topic about what we talk about, because we want to honor baby girl today. We want to honor her legacy and just make sure that her music is never forgotten. So y'all, just make sure y'all, we got more interviews, y'all. And also that day on August 7th, y'all, I'm celebrating the 1 year anniversary of Midnight R&B Edition, y'all. So we are celebrating my anniversary of my beautiful show that I have done, for the past year during this pandemic, but it's opened so many doors for me. And I want to also celebrate and, bring all the joy and love in R&B.
So it's
So
only been
again,
1 year for you. That's
yeah, it'll be 1
amazing.
year, August 7th, 6 days
That's
after my
amazing.
birthday.
That's amazing. Congratulations to that, because you've accomplished a lot. So that's amazing.
Well, thank you so much. And like I said, Eli, God bless you so much from the bottom of
Thank
my heart,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Make sure you do stream EP 22. It's all on streaming platforms. Make sure you support it, everything he is doing right now, the remixes and everything above.
Yeah.
Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, y'all. We are done with my
Thank you
beautiful
so much.
interview for the one and only Mr. Eli Mai. God bless you.
Have a great night. Thank you so much. Bye,
Yes.
everybody.
Bye.